G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. And I've just changed up the controls on this thing a little bit to try and make it, well, hopefully make it a little simpler for me to drive it. Having tried a few scripts to control the rotors more directly, I have not been able to find any that actually work, which is a bit sad. Or at least I wasn't able to get any to work, is probably the more accurate way of saying that. But I've kind of got a slightly better control system on my hotbar now that makes it a little bit easier for me to work out what I need to press to get the turning and the speed that I'm aiming for. So I'm relatively happy, and I think you can see my attempt at a little identification flag, something that very clearly makes the point that you should not be driving this through doorways, even though I did drive this through the doorway to get out of the medbay, and it kind of worked. Having some degree of control over it, well, having a better idea of what buttons to press did make it work a little bit more nicely. So you can see what I've done is I have set up the controls such that the left and right accelerate are together as 1 and 2, and the left and right slow down or reverse are together as 4 and 5. So if I want to go forward, I simply press 1 and 2 together. If I want to go backwards, I press 4 and 5 together. It makes it a little hard once I start turning to remember where I'm at in terms of controlling each one and getting them back to 0 for stopping, but it is a lot easier to drive this way. And the battery's going to die in 5 minutes. Fantastic. Can I improve that somehow? Oh, if I get out of control of the remote, it goes to an hour. Weird. Now maybe I should turn off the rotors. Now how long? Fully depleted in 8 days. Alright, the rotor's off, we're good. So, what I have been doing, and what you probably saw that I was doing in the time lapse, is building the third large apartment room. So this one is identical to the one before it. It's got the 24 bed spaces, so 12 on each side. It's got the communal bathroom. It's got the little coffee nooks in each side and the couches. So along here, we've now got room for 24 plus 24 plus 16, so 48 people to be bedded in those communal rooms. But the more interesting area that I've worked on is the, let's call them the more executive suites. These are the places where the middle management and upper management will reside. So we'll start with the boss. The boss has a room with its own kitchen, nice plants everywhere, a nice little eating nook. It's also got a desk and an office with some big panels on the wall for showing important information, even a couch. This connects to the bedroom so that the office for, well, this is sort of a special office. This wouldn't be the office that the boss would use, but it's just if they want to be able to use it. So we've got our bedroom with some storage space, some more plants, a nice double bed, and we've got our own private bathroom in here. Of course, no ceilings yet. I haven't decided how I'm going to do the ceilings in here. They're going to be a bit complicated because of the shapes of all the walls that I've ended up using in here. So I'm going to fiddle with that later. And I'm also, I think I'm going to get rid of these doors and replace them with the standard doors because I haven't used many of these industrial doors in this section. And I think it looks better with, have I still got the doors on my thing? Yeah. Ooh, not orange. I think it looks better with this style of door. Yeah, more privacy is better. I don't know why some of the doors don't get added to our controls with the auto closing. It's very strange. So next to our boss's office, next to our boss's living quarters, we've got the slightly less nice quarters, which have a shared kitchen and living area, and still a nice double bed with some nice storage, but also a shared bathroom, but it's only shared with one other room. So it's still relatively private and they still get their own private sleeping quarters. So this is, considering we're underground, a quite nice place to live. Then the next tier, this is sort of middle level. You still get your own space to sleep. So if we go through here, oh, It appears I forgot to weld some things during the time lapse. I'm going to have to fix those. But you've got your own little... Let's go to one that's finished. You've got your own single bed. You've got your own little locker. Your own room to sleep in. But you do share your living space in here. And you do share your bathroom in here. So, not quite as swanky as the ones across the hall, but still a lot nicer than those other ones we've got down the other corridor. So, all in all, I think I'm quite happy with how these have turned out. They're nicely convoluted hallways, and it's a interesting space to navigate, which is kind of what I was going for. And this central corridor is something that could allow for expansion later if I decided I wanted to put more of these in, but I don't think I will. One other little feature I did put in though was a door here, which opens onto rock. That rock is eventually going to be drilled out, and if we go to F8, you can see I'm standing in front of that door. This corridor that I'm now directly atop is the one that's going to enter into our command center. So I'm planning on putting a little secret corridor between the boss's accommodations and the command center, so the boss can get to the command center extra quickly from their quarters, which should be good. Oh, got some more pipes that are unwelded down there. The plans for today are... Which way's out? This way's out. The plans for today are to get working on the entryway to the command center. What I want for this space is to have something that's going to be defensible. So I want a turret. Ideally I'd want two, but I don't think I'm going to be able to have two of them and have it look the way I want. So I've been working on a few different ideas for having pop-out turrets, because I do want something that's hidden. I want something that's not immediately visible, so when you're walking around you can be like, oh, that's an interesting little depression in the roof there. Oh well. But when we activate our lockdown mode, and eventually I do want to do a lockdown mode for the base where everything goes red lighting, all the doors get shut and locked, and the turret pops out, etc. The blast doors that are going to be before the command center come down. For turrets for our hallway, I see it as there being two real options here. With this control bar, let's go to add a Gatling turret and add a Gatling gun. What I want is something that's going to be able to pop out of a single large grid block. So 5x5 on the small grid, and these Gatling guns are 4 blocks long. So once you add all of the other stuff you need for them, they end up being longer than 4 blocks, because you need to have remote control blocks, a camera, gyroscopes, and all that sort of stuff. And the gyroscopes with their mounting points make it difficult. It ends up being quite bulky and very difficult to have it control, even though this was kind of what I was hoping to do, because these would look cool, especially if you could have them as a double cannon mounted on a central pole that pops out, swings into position, and you can directly control. The alternative I had in mind, let's get rid of those, because I tried making something with those and I couldn't make it small enough. The alternative was to use a small grid Gatling turret. Now this thing is 5x5, but I would be able to have this pop out of the ceiling if I used blast door blocks around it. So that is an option. But there's an alternative, which is messy to set up, also gives us a controllable turret. Unfortunately, the disadvantage of it is the disadvantage of it compared to the Gatling turret is that interior turrets, they have to be manually loaded, but they can be loaded with quite a large amount of ammunition. So I can set up an interior turret like so. If I start with an advanced rotor, grind off that, add a small head, then add another advanced rotor on top, grind off its small head, and then add a large head on top. And we're going to have to get lucky a bit with this. Nope. Nope. Yeah, got it. Okay. I've started to come to the conclusion that always using advanced rotors, if I've got enough room when attaching the large rotor parts to small rotors, is a good idea. Because of their larger surface on top, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to get it to balance on top so that then you can attach it. So if we have this advanced rotor part on here, we've then got a large grid block. This large grid block can then have an interior turret on it. And then we can have this, which, because this rotor part doesn't have proper collisions, it will fit through one large grid block space. So I could have this mounted high enough up that instead of just being directly on the advanced rotor there, I could have it mounted on some pistons and this thing could pop out and slide away. The thing I haven't figured out yet, if doing this, is how I would cover up that hole when this is retracted. Because I would like to have a little cap over it. Though, since I am using blocks that are full, I could close it off. In fact, just had an idea. This could work quite nicely for having a double turret. What I could do is have a turret on, let's grab a block so I can indicate which block, on this row here, and another turret here. To have them allowed to pop out and have a bit of space created, I can have an airtight hangar door embedded in this row with the wall. So it'll open up 2 blocks, which will display some of the machinery, which is unfortunate, but that's just gonna be one of the things we have to deal with, and have the similar mirrored setup on this side. Because this fits through a 1 block space, the airtight hangar door will completely block it off. You won't be able to see it at all. The thing I don't like about this though, airtight hangar doors are very slow to open. So it won't be the quickest deployment of the turrets that it could be, but I think that's the way we'll go for now. So I'm going to drill a bit into this ceiling and maybe even grind away some of... Oh, no, it should be right where it is. Drill a bit into the ceiling, give myself enough room to set up these turrets so that we can have them pop down from the ceiling. And I'm quite happy that the large grid rotor part doesn't have proper collisions, because I could not think of another way to have a controllable turret that neatly fits into a 1 large grid block space. Which is something I'm harping on about, but that's because I spent hours trying to work out a way to do it. And then, as I started to record this just now, I came up with that one. Which is often the way things go when I'm trying to come up with designs for stuff around this base. The best design happens when I'm actually recording. Behind these turrets, I am thinking of having a very rapidly closing blast door. Something mounted on pistons that I can close really, really fast. So ideally I'd like to be able to slam it down to the floor in about a second, maybe 2 seconds. 1, 2, yeah, something like that'd be pretty... A second would be ideal. So what I'm thinking is just a very simple blast door mounted on pistons, perhaps even 2 pistons, so I can get the 10 meters per second speed and just slam that thing down when you hit the emergency buzzer. So if someone was underneath it, it would probably kill them. So you would definitely want to not be stuck or running for those doors. But I think it'd be kind of fun having something that is lethal that's protecting the command center. Especially since these turrets are probably going to have to pop out quite slowly. Which I guess could be some drama in that if it was really quick for the turrets to pop out, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the popping out procedure quite so much. I'm going to get rid of these and make this flat across here. So, block in the center. Then over the sides here is where we're going to put our airtight hangar doors. So with our airtight hangar doors, we can place them in here and in here. And that'll completely close off that space. And with the extra armor blocks around here, we should end up with something that looks reasonably neat when it's closed. It'll obviously look different to the rest of the roof, but that's okay. We should expect that. Now, for setting this up. This one's going to be a bit more difficult to attach the large rotor head to. I'm going to need to use the fact that I've got pistons and make some sort of resting place for the large head so that we can do the attachment, I think. Now I want the turret to be able to move down to about this height with the rotor part neatly sealing off that gap and then sticking out just around this height. Yeah, when we control it, it'll be this way around, but I want it to look reasonably sealed off once it comes down, and same on this side. So what I need it to do is to be able to move down to here comfortably and then move back at least, I think it's going to need to be at least 5 meters. So, or at least back to bring the turret into this cube space here, but probably a little bit back to there as well. So it'll need to be able to move, say, 6 meters. So that's 3 small pistons. That's why I was working that out. This pop-out turret thing is something I have wanted to do for so long. I've never had a good opportunity to build any. I don't know why I've never seen any of my ships or other things as opportunities to build pop-out turrets, but this certainly seems to be the best circumstance I've had for it, because I do have a good reason for wanting it to be a bit secretive, because it fits in with the aesthetics of the rest of the base. We'll go advanced part. Add our small head. Gonna keep clicking escape there for a while, I reckon. Then on here, let's place our small piston. So 1, 2, 3. That gives us 6 meters. I wonder if that's going to give us enough room if we start back there. So let's go with another piston and see if we can fit on that. Then I reckon we'll be comfortably able to poke this thing out. Okay, so we've got our rotor lined up to our rotor part. It all should work. I am slightly worried about something though. So this rotor, when I did this attachment, the part kind of jumped up. But obviously with us having things around this way, there's no room for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand down here and I'm going to do this remotely because I'm not sure what's going to happen. And advanced rotor. Not that one. This one. Attach. Nope. Nothing. Let's just make sure it is that one. Advanced rotor 12. Let's just call it. Yep, not attaching. All right. Let's bring it a little bit closer and see what happens. Oh. I'm glad I wasn't standing next to that. Blam. Yeah. Okay, that worked. Yeah. Cool. Now, we need to pop our interior turret on there. I can grind down this one. Figure I complete one side and then I'll know exactly what I need to do for the other side. So what I gotta do now is get this thing squared off so that we've got a nice, neatly lined up large rotor part. And then we can build up that airtight hangar door and see what sort of delay we need before we can have the turret come down so it doesn't slam into the airtight hangar door every time. And then we should be able to set up a single button that can do all of it. I put a button panel in here so that we can start setting this up and test that the deployment's going to work properly. So airtight hangar door. Let's instead call this base command center. Oh, I don't want it to be CC. Com C. Base com C. Turret. Then what we need to figure out is which of the pistons, and that's going to be an interesting challenge, are the pistons that are up here. Hopefully I only find 3 pistons that are off, otherwise I've messed up somewhere. So now I should be able to piston, COM-C, make these group. And with some of the timers that are on the base, we've got a timer block, don't we? Yep, timer block. So base, TB, COM-C, turrets, deploy. And we'll need a second timer because I need to have a bit of a delay between when the door opens and when the turret comes down, and then a similar delay between when the turret goes up and the door closes. So we'll probably need to have 3 or 4 timers, I think. So turret deploy, setup actions. What we want to do is the airtight hangar door. Where else do I have airtight hangar doors? Oh yeah, I remember now. The grinder pit. So we want this to open, and then we also want to start timer 2. Then timer 2 is going to groups, grab our turrets and extend. Grab our piston and extend. All right, let's give this a go. COM-C, timer, turret deploy. Trigger now. Door opens. And in 10 seconds, that turret should start coming down. Come on. Come on. How long is 10 seconds? Oh, come on. Really? Oh, because you're a dope, Splitsie. These are off. That's embarrassing. Huh. That only needs to come back just a little bit. Interesting. Let's reverse you and we'll set that maximum extension up. I'm reasonably happy with that. So if we've got this reduced to 1.3, oh, it would be 0.7, wouldn't it, amongst 3 of them? So that the pistons extend all together, I'm going to reduce each of these ones to 1.8 and reduce this one to 1.7. So that way all of them should extend together. Now, if we go to our control panel, grab our pistons, max velocity 5, so this thing pops out ridiculously fast. Although that's probably going to be way too silly. Let's go to 2 meters a second. And reverse. All right. Hidden up there. We'll manually close our door before we set up the timers going the other way. Deployment start. That moves out of the way. 2, 3. I'd say that's pretty good. I wonder if I could set up a secondary... Yeah. Okay, I just had an idea. So let's reset this. Reverse. Airtight. Closed. What if I turn the airtight hangar door off when it's only half retracted? So it'll still cover up that extra bit of the hole. And I should be able to do that by setting up the second timer, COM-C TB, to setup actions, switch this off. So toggle block off. All right, let's give this a go. We'll see at what point it needs to exactly be to turn off at the correct point, the correct stage, but we'll try this first and see how far open it gets. So we get to there, start retracting. Oh, that's almost spot on. Yeah. That's heaps better. So then we keep that area closed off and I don't need to worry about how I'm going to decorate up there because we'll be able to see up there. Yeah, cool. Then for the reverse, all we need to do is have the first timer turn that door on, which unfortunately will mean it'll keep opening. Retract that piston and then close the door. So it will be a bit funny on the return. Although I could probably have it turn on and close in the same timer, so maybe that will work. Have I got enough timer blocks on the base? No. Where are our server rooms? Do I have space to put some more in the server rooms up here? That's not the server room. Server room's in this corridor. Yeah. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. 2 more timer blocks. Let's go continue our door setup. Call this one retract and retract 2. Alright, so the first one, setup actions. We want these to retract, the pistons, and that's all on the first timer. Oh, and then we want to activate the second retract timer. No, that's the deploy. Start. Then the second retract timer is going to setup actions. Turn you on and close. That should be it. So we should, if we set the delay to 3 seconds, be able to trigger now, which retracted our turret nicely, and then the door closes. Yeah! We have deployable doors! Deployable doors? What am I saying? We have deployable turrets. Oh man. Ugh. I finally have deployable turrets, and I can match this exactly on the other side. So we'll have 2 turrets that can pop down, and if we click our little button, we'll get our deployment started shortly. I do wish those doors would open a bit faster, but still, at least the turrets come down nice and quickly. And if we're in our control panel, or if I go to Shift K and go to terminal, not that terminal, terminal interior turret, where are you? Interior turret. Base, ComC, entrance, and control. Oh, this is strange to control because they're upside down. There we go, that's better. I could shoot myself right now, except we have no ammunition. This is pretty sweet. We can certainly use this as a defense system, and it is surprisingly well hidden. I am genuinely surprised at how well this thing works. Both directions. I definitely don't need quite as much delay before the closing. So let's adjust that. But I am stoked at how well these things work. Probably should set that to 1 second. So let's trigger the deploy. Opens. Turret pops down. Trigger the close. Pops up. Starts closing. Yeah! Finally! System that works. Cool. So I'm going to match that on the other side, and then we're going to get on to building the blast door for our command center entrance. Okay, let's test this whole thing out. I've set up both of them now, and I've even built up some armor blocks around them so that when we look up past them, we'll just see a nice clear background. So if we click start, they should both open. Yep. And they should both stop at the same point. Yep, turret's down. Oh yeah. And then the same for the retraction. Pop out of the way. And both of them close. Sweet! That is exactly the sort of thing I was looking for. Something that looks mean when they pop out, but is fairly subtle when they're hidden. And, you know, by my standards, that's reasonably subtle. Maybe I'll put interior walls in the center there, but the reason I haven't is that with them lined up with the top here, we'll end up with a slight hole at the front of these airtight hangar doors, which I don't really like the look of. So that's why I went with the armor. I may at some point decide to go with heavy armor just so it's a little different. In fact, maybe I could just do heavy armor down the center so that the center's still separated from the rest of the blocks around. But time for me to get some energy, and then we can start on our blast door. So for our blast door, what I want is to have something on pistons because we've got a 4 block high corridor here, so I could do it all with airtight hangar doors and have them come up from the floor and down from the ceiling. But as mentioned when setting these up for the turrets, they're quite slow, and I would much rather have something that is able to close very rapidly. What that means is using something with pistons, or I suppose I could use rotors, but rotors are going to make this take a lot more space within the corridor itself. So I want to have nice clean side walls and a nice clean floor, and then we'll have the thing chopped down like a guillotine straight onto whatever's in the way, which hopefully won't be me on my little rover cart thing. I'm totally going to have to set up some deployable turrets like this in some of my enemy installations that I've built, because that'll be fun. Walk past a little bit, not realize that there's a hidden airtight hangar door or hidden something, and then trigger a sensor that's a fair bit away, so on your exit you get shot up. So you're kind of trapped behind enemy lines, so to speak. Oh, that could be mean and fun and mean, but mainly fun. So to get a 4-block high door to come down, I could do it with a single piston, but then we'll be left with a little gap at the corner here where the door and where the top of the door is resting here, and we'll be able to see through. So, or I could potentially just push it up an extra block and still have a single piston. At 5 meters per second, it'd take 2 seconds to close this. Oh, is that fast enough, or do I want to double it? I kind of want to double it. I kind of want to have that option. So we're going to need to go a fair way up here, because we need the door to be able to move its 4 blocks up. So we can't even start the pistons until 1, 2, 3, 4, until up here. Right. So we're going to have to do a fair bit of digging for this thing. So I'm going to kind of rough this out. So need 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we need that block to be part of the thing. So the first piston is going to start up on this level. So I should probably go another 3 blocks higher than that. I'm going to make this internal area quite neat because we'll be able to see between the gaps. Which means when we place our pistons down, I will cover in the rest of this space as much as I can, as much as the pistons will allow me to. So I think the piston heads as well as the rotor heads, they don't have a full collision. So I should... Oh no, that's a problem. If I do it this way, I can't place the second piston. Or can I? Wait. Shouldn't that be causing a problem? Let's see. I thought that should be causing a problem. May need to dig out some more space. I can't remember what other parts I needed. Surely. What? Is that new? Or has that always been nicely behaved like that? I'm not complaining, I like it. I'm also realizing I am nowhere near high enough. Oh no, wait, I am. Of course I am. Because I don't need them to both be at full extension, I just need it to pop out. Well, since that's a thing, I think we're pretty much ready to go. I'll set this door up and then I'll fill in all the gaps later. And our blast door edges should be able to go right down to the floor. I'm not going to put a closing edge. I'm going to have it go straight smack into the floor with the bottom edge. Part of the reason for that is the corner pieces. I don't know, maybe I do want the corner pieces. I'm going to try it with just the edges for now, though. Reverse and hope I don't smack into the ground too hard. Yeah. Alright, that needs some welding. I'm going to weld this up and then we'll see just how far I've actually extended those pistons. Set our maximum velocity to -3. Let's try 6 meters a second and see how quickly this closes. Oh, we can go a bit faster than that. Let's go for reverse. Should be open by now. Reverse. Yeah, that's about right. I'm glad I put the second piston in because that's 8 meters a second I'm closing that at, which a single would not be able to reach. All right, I'm going to weld this up and then we'll have a look at all of this in action. Maybe I could even have that come down with the same control as the deployment of the turrets. So if the turrets are getting deployed, that door gets closed. So set up actions, groups, blast door pistons, extend. And then with the retract, set up actions. In fact, we might put that on the second block. Set up actions, groups, blast door pistons, retract. All right, I'm going to weld these up and then we'll try that all in one go. Alrighty, we have our blast door in position. We can't really see much up there, which is nice. That's kind of what I wanted, although I've clearly left a gap that's going to be next to him. That's going to be a pain to fix. We've got our turrets ready, so let's have a look at this deployment. I've got it all set up on this button. So we should see that blast door come down. Yes. Then our turrets take forever to come out, but they pop out. And we have defenses. Woohoo! Then our retraction should be similarly quick. Turrets out of the way, blaster out of the way, and we can enter our command center. So next time I'm planning on working on the command center itself. And it's going to need to have an extra little entrance inside here that could be manned by security personnel. But I'm sort of aiming for an open plan style thing. Something a little reminiscent of some sci-fi command centers. I'm not really going for the Stargate style one because that's a bit more tightly packed and you're kind of looking onto something. This is going to be more like a command bridge idea. So if you've got any image links, feel free to send me to... What? Come on, Splitsie, form a sentence. You're almost done. Feel free to send me the links in the comments so that I can have a look if you've got some ideas that you think I should try and include. So there's all that and plenty more to come, and I will see you then. Yes. Oh yes, I do love this deployment. Sweet.